And so welcome back to part 2 of the racing highlights from round 1 of the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club's 2022 Championship. And in the second part 2 version of the day's racing, we have all of the age-related races as the second part of the day's proceedings. So let's get straight into the action and start with the combined pre-77s over 50s and the under and over 40s and the pre-1989 125s. So these are the age-related races, so it's not the particular bike that the rider rides, but the rider's age that determines what class they will be racing in. Now, although this is a combined class in this race, of course, naturally they will be scored separately in their respective age groups. So as they leave the line, it looks like Mike McClurty's made a very good start on that little CR125 Honda, and Mike McClurty's already had a clean sweep of wins in the pre-1989 125s already here at Finavon, so he's off to a very good start in this age-related race. So in second position there, number 293, that's Andrew King, who's riding that Husqvarna framed bike with the EGIS Stormer two-stroke motor in the chassis. So as they make their way up Finavon Hill for the first time, it's still number 416, Mike McClurty, your race leader. In second position is number 9, that's Lewis Bell on the CCM, and Andrew King there on that Husqvarna AGIS bike in third position. Now, we have already done a video of this bike on my YouTube channel, so if you'd like to know how this bike was put together, then look out for that bike on my YouTube channel. So as they cross the line to complete lap 1, it's still Mike McClurty from number 9, Lewis Bell from Andrew King in third, and it looks like Liston Bell is now moved up into fourth position. And as you can see, the weather here at Finavon Hill is absolutely superb for this type of classic racing, and the track is in fantastic condition once again. So your race leader is still number 416, Mike McClurty, on that little CR125 Honda, and Mike McClurty's little Honda is giving a good account of itself here when you consider that this bike in second position is a big 500 single 4-stroke machine that Lewis Bell is riding, a CCM. So Mike McClurty doing very well on that rapid little 2-stroke 125 to keep this bigger 4-stroke engine bike behind him. Number 98 there again is Liston Bell, and Liston's riding his big 4-stroke Jawa machine. It looks like Andrew King is still in fourth position. So as we look at some of the other riders crossing the line, and just coming towards us is number 7, that's Mark Reynolds on his little 125 Suzuki machine. Although it looks like it's going to be another win for this man here, number 416, Mike McClurty on the 125 Honda, but Lewis Bell trying his damnedest there to get up to the back wheel of that little 125, but I'll just give you an indication of just how quick Mark McClurty is on that 125. But in the third place there is Liston Bell as he crosses the line to start his last and final lap of this race. Now just coming into shot there and then going past is number 49, Ian Marr, and just behind him there, number 125 is Ian Stainton riding that lovely Clues Stroker machine. These bikes, of course, were the very first bikes that Alan Clues ever built, long before he even started up at CCM, so it's nice to see Ian out there on one of those old Clues strokers. But here's your race leader as he comes round to chalk up yet another race win. It's number 416, Mike McClarty. So another cracking race by this very talented rider on this very quick little 125. It looks like Lewis Bell is going to cross the line in second position on the CCM. So that brings us to the next age-related race for the pre-77s, over 60s and over 65s. Not a big lineup of riders for this particular race, but nonetheless enough to make a good race of it. And it's a good start again by John Fleming there on that number 10 CZ machine. Derek McCauley is in second position, and for me, Derek McCauley's been one of the outstanding riders at this round one event here at Finavon, and Derek's been mixing it with the big bikes on that little 250 Bultaco Porcine, but a very quick little bike this, as you watched them head up Finavon Hill for the first time. So as the riders make their way to complete lap 1, it's still number 10, John Fleming on the CZ, who is your race leader. Derek McCauley is still in second position. So there's John Fleming, number 10, as he crosses the line to complete lap 1. Now in this part 2 of the racing from Finavon, we have 9 races with 3 blocks of 3 races, so each class will get 3 races each. As we take a look at number 13 there, that's Jim Allison, and number 118, that's Kenny Harper on that very nice Czechoslovakian CZ. So it's still number 10, John Fleming, your race leader. Now this is not a fully original CZ bike, of course, because it has a brand new chassis that was built by legendary frame builder Harry Stitt. As we take a look at Derek McCauley trying to catch John Fleming's CZ, but as they come towards the finish line to complete another lap, it looks like Derek McCauley is certainly close enough to maybe make a challenge before the end of this race, but Derek's been absolutely superb today on this 250 Bultaco, and he's certainly given John Fleming a run for his money. And so as they cross the finish line to complete another lap, it's still number 10, John Fleming, who leads Arbroath man Derek McCauley, as we take another look there at number 13, that's Jim Allison on the 1974 CCM bike. Jim's just recently returned to racing once again, and just behind Jim there, number 89, is Mike Bell riding that beautiful BSA Gold Star. Although if you'd like to have a go at this Finavon Hill racetrack, it always is the very first round of the year for the Scottish Classic Club, so maybe if you'd like to have a go at this track, then check out the classicscrambles.com website for all the dates and locations of the races for 2023. So it's still number 10, John Fleming, who leads Derek McCauley on the 250 Bultaco. Been another good race between these two guys, and Derek looks like he's maybe going to have a go before the end of this race. So as they cross the line to start their last and final lap, it's still John Fleming who leads Derek McCauley. As we take a look at number 118, that's Kenny Harper, and this is a bike that we've just recently featured here on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel, this lovely twin port CZ machine of Kenny Harper's. But as we take a look at our race leaders as they head up the Finavon Hill for the very last time, it still looks like it's John Fleming with the advantage over Derek McCauley's 250 Bultaco. So as they make their way down the hill, it looks like it could be another win for John Fleming, but Derek won't give up without a fight. So as they make their way towards the checkered flag, I think John Fleming's far enough in front to still secure the win. So only one more turn to go before the checkered flag. So it's another well-deserved win for number 10, John Fleming on the CZ, with Derek McCauley on the bull tackle in second position. And it looks like some of the Finavon Hill spectators have got a nice vantage point there on the top of the hill, looking down at everything that's going on below. A nice vantage point to watch all the action on the track. So that brings us now to the pre-1984 age-related riders. We're just waiting on our official starter, Dougie Meek, letting the bikes go from the line, and it's another good start by John Stokes on the 480 Honda, who seems to get the whole shot, and John's well on his way there. Now number 151, John Stokes, has already won 3 races in the pre-1984 class in the first half of the race programme, so he's made another good start in this age-related race. So we're looking at number 334 there in the black. That's Kevin Smith on his immaculately turned out 440 Michael. Number 23 is Mad Max Michael, or Raymond Thompson as he's sometimes known, as he makes his way up the Finavon Hill. But here's your race leader already coming round to complete his first racing lap. It's John Stokes on that very quick 2-stroke 480 Honda machine. Now in second place, I think it's Mike van der Meer there, number 17 on his Michael. Peter Maxwell is in third. As we take a look at number 47, that's Steve Moore. Andy Malek's doing well again in that 250 Montesa. And once more there's Raymond Thompson on his 490 Michael, number 23. And Raymond's not had too far to travel to get to this track, and just a few miles from Forfar. As we take another look at our race leader, John Stokes, number 151, as he powers that big 480 Honda up at the Finavon Hill. But it's a very quick machine, these 480 Hondas, and if you ride one of these bikes, you'll know exactly how quick these 480s are, and John's certainly making the most of that power around this racetrack. Still in second position is Mike van der Meer, number 17 there on the 490 Michael. And third now is number 217, that's Peter Maxwell. So Peter's made another very good start in this pre-1984 age-related race. And Peter, of course, is another one of those avid dirt bike collectors, and he has some very nice machines in his collection, and we've featured at least 2 or 3 of Peter's bikes on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel already. But Peter doing very well in this pre-1984 class race. So it's John Stokes at number 151 who is still your race leader as he comes round to complete another racing lap of this Finavon Hill racetrack. Looks like John's well on his way for another race win in this pre-1984 class. As we take a look at number 43 and number 47. Number 47 is of course Steve Moore on the 490 Michael, and Andy Malek there, number 43 on that lovely 250 Montesa Capra. These two are the best of friends, and they do like a bit of a scrap on the racetrack, but once again Andy Malek doing very well on that 250 Montesa. So as we go back to our race leader, John Stokes, looks like John's in a race all of his own here, right at the front of this pre-1984 pack as he crosses the line to complete another racing lap. And as I said, only 9 races in the second part of the race programme, and not 4 races for each class, as was the case in the part 1 video. As we take a look at number 17 in second position, that's Mike van der Meer on his lovely 490 Myco twin shocker. So we have to give this man here a mention, Kevin Smith, on his 440 Myco. Kevin looks like he's enjoying himself out there, and this bike of Kevin's was one of the machines that was featured in Classic Dirt Bike magazine a couple of issues ago. So here's your race leader, number 151 John Stokes, as he begins his last and final lap of this age-related pre-1984 class, and John is well on his way to yet another race win. Now, of course, our next round 2 event for the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club will be at Cumstone Farm in Lockerbie on the 15th of May, so if you fancy having a go at that particular race, then just have a look at the classicscrambles.com website for more details. So it's a win for number 151 John Stokes. So that brings us to the combined pre-77s over 50s and the over and under 40s, and the pre-1989 125s for their second race in this age-related classes. But it's number 416 once again. It's Mike McClurty who is your race leader. Lewis Bell is in second. It looks like Liston Bell is in third there on that big Jawa machine, the big 4-stroke Jawa. Andrew King doing well again there on that Husqvarna HIS bike. Number 39 just going through is Ian Marr, who's riding that beautiful CZ. Now it looks like Mike McClurty's got his work cut out in this race with the big Jawa of Liston Bell in second place and Lewis Bell's 500 CCM, but as they cross the line for lap 1, it's still number 416 Mike McClurty who leads at number 9 now, Lewis Bell on the CCM. But Mike McClurty is really quick around this Finavon Hill racetrack on that little 125 two-stroker. But as you'd expect, that little light and nimble 125 Honda of Mike McClurty's will be very quick on the twisty parts of the track, but once these big single-cylinder 4-strokers of Liston Bell and Lewis Bell get in their stride going up at Finavon Hill, looks like Mike could eventually get swallowed up. As we take a look at number 293, that's Andrew King on that beautiful Husqvarna HIS Stormer powered bike. A very nice and very quick machine, this bike of Andrew King's, but it's still Mike McClurty who is your race leader from number 98 now. So Liston Bell looks like he's taken that second position now. There doesn't seem to be any sign of Lewis, so I don't know what's happened to Lewis on the CCM, but it's now at number 98 at Liston Bell on the big Jawa 4-stroker, who is your second place rider. So as we pick up some of the other riders, number 254 there, I think that's John Miller on his CR125 Honda. These little 125 CRs are quite popular in the 125 class. Number 49 there, that's Ian Marr on that beautifully turned out CZ machine. It looks quite an original bike, that particular machine of Ian's, as he makes his way up the Finavon Hill. But there appears to be no stopping this man, Mike McClurty, on that CR125 Honda, as he's been absolutely rapid around this Finavon Hill racetrack on that 125, but looks like Mike is still in a very good position to possibly even take the win in this race. So it was Liston Bell in second position, and I assume that Liston is still there in second place. As we take a look at number 109, that's Colin Nelson on his 250 Husqvarna machine. Ian Marr once again going through number 49, Andrew King number 293 on his Husqvarna, but as they cross the finish line, it looks like another win for Mike McClarty on that very rapid little CR125 Honda. And so that brings us back to the pre-1977s over 60s and over 65s. Not as many riders in this class now, because as it gets later in the day, you have some riders falling by the wayside with mechanical issues or other rider problems. But it's a good start again from John Fleming on the CZ. Derek McCauley once more is in second position. But we certainly couldn't ask for better weather for this round one event here at Finavon Hill. Weather absolutely superb, which of course in turn makes the track fantastic for this type of classic racing. So there's your second place man, number 29, Derek McCauley, on his rapid Bull Taco, as we take a look at Brian Hamilton there, number 14. And I don't know who that is just behind Brian on the big BSA, but it's John Fleming who is your race leader as he comes round to complete lap 1. Although it's quite a lovely landscape here at Finavon, the actual track is quite short, but it's a quick lap here at Forfar. So third place there is number 13, that's Jim Allison on that lovely CCM bike. One of these Alan Clues CCM machines, lovely machines. So that's Jim Allison, number 13. Mike Bell there, number 89 on the Gold Star, and number 118 is Kenny Harper on the Twinport CZ. But as I said, it is a cracking racetrack here at Finavon Hill, and in a way it always reminds you of the kind of landscape that these old bikes would have been racing on back in the day. No artificial jumps or silly things like whoops, just natural undulating hillside terrain. So we're looking at second place man, number 29, Derek McCauley, on his Spanish 250 Bull Taco. Derek, of course, is another local rider. He only lives a few miles from this track, so Derek's not had far to go to get to this Finavon track. Number 89 there again is Mike Bell on the big Gold Star, with Kenny Harper number 118 on the Twinport CZ. So it's still number 10, John Fleming, who is your race leader. Now this particular bike of John Fleming's is absolutely bristling with trick parts, and we will take a look at this bike in more detail on my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel very soon. So if you haven't already subscribed, then maybe you should do that small thing so you don't miss out on having a look at this very nice twin shock racer of John Fleming's. But this Finavon Hill racetrack never seems to be affected by the weather, no matter how wet the winters have been each year. And every time that we turn up at this track in either late March or early April, this racetrack is always in tip-top condition, as you can see. So as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be another win for number 10, John Fleming, on the CZ Nori Patty 3L Developments bike. So it's another win for John Fleming. And there's your second place, Derek McCauley, on that very quick 250 Spanish-made Bultaco Persang. So that brings us around to the second race for the pre-1984 age-related races. We're just looking at our official starter there, Dougie Meek, and just waiting on Dougie getting the OK from the travelling marshal to say the track is clear, and we're just waiting for the word to go, but it looks like everything's good to go. So as the riders leave the line, a cracking start there by Peter Maxwell, number 217. Steve Moore's also made a good start there in second position. It looks like John Stokes has been left at the line once again as he joins the chasing pack right at the back there. So I don't know what's happened to John. He seems to have been left at the start line. But Peter Maxwell's the man who is in charge at the moment in the 490 Michael. Steve Moore is second. Andy Malik is third on the Montesa. So there's John Stokes there, and it looks like it looks like he's dropped his bike and one of the corners, and looks like he's trying to straighten things out, but he appears to be on the go again. So here's your race leader, number 217, Peter Maxwell, on the 490 Michael Twin Shocker. Second is number 47, Steve Moore. Third is Andy Malach, number 43 on that Montesa Capra 250. Andy doing very well against these bigger engined machines. Now it looks like we've got Raymond Thompson out there, and he looks like he's riding Archie Baird's CZ machine, so it looks like Raymond's borrowed a bike to ride in this particular race. Now, as you can see, John Stokes appears to be on his way once again, so he's not had the best of starts to this race. He was left at the start, and then it looked like he dropped his bike into one of the corners. So John Stokes has got a lot to do if he wants to catch this man here, number 217, Peter Maxwell. So it's Peter Maxwell, your race leader, but we'll keep our eye on John Stokes and see how he comes through that racing pack. In second place, just making his way around at the corner there, is number 47, Steve Moore, being chased by his friend Andy Mallock there, number 43 on the Montesa. So once again, Andy Mallock's doing very well on that 250 Montesa bike. But there's John Stokes. I think he's already up to about 4th position already after about 2 laps. So John Stokes is certainly making a charge and trying to make up for that really bad start that he had in this race. So it's still Peter Maxwell who is your race leader. This has been another good ride here by Peter on the German 490 Micro machine, as he comes round to cross the line to complete another racing lap. Now in second position, just coming into your shot now, is number 47, Steve Moore, and there is John Stokes. So he's already up to about 4th position, so he's getting ready to pass Andy Mallock on the 250 Montesa, which shouldn't be too much of a problem with that big 480 Honda. But John blasts past Andy's 250 and looks like he's now lining up Steve Moore's 490 to take that second position. So it won't be long before this man here, number 217, Peter Maxwell, is looking over his shoulder, because John Stokes is not too far behind as he is catching Peter Maxwell hand over fist as John makes his way up Finavon Hill. But it's still Peter Maxwell, your race leader. But as I said, this has been another good ride here by Peter, but I'm not really sure if Peter can hold on because there is a couple of laps still to go. The marshal just encouraging him on there, but it's John Stokes here in second position as they cross the line to complete another lap. I think we've got about 2 laps to go, so there's still plenty time for John Stokes to catch Peter Maxwell's 490 Michael. And you can visually see how close John Stokes is now to Peter when we have about a lap and a half to go. So Peter's going to have to ride out of his skin to try and keep this very quick 480 Honda behind him of John Stokes. So as they make their way up Finavon Hill, John Stokes will certainly use all the horsepower from that 480 Honda 2-stroke engine as they make their way down the other side of Finavon Hill, but it's still Peter Maxwell who's holding on to that first place position. But it looks like John Stokes is eventually past Peter for that track position, so as he comes round to start his last and final lap, it's John Stokes, number 151, who is now your race leader. Now this has been a very good ride by John here when you consider that he was left at the start line in this race and then he dropped his machine in one of the corners and he's come right through the pack to take the lead of this race, and as you can see he's already stretching that lead from Peter Maxwell's 490 Michael. So as he comes towards the checkered flag, this has been a fantastic ride here by John Stokes and a well deserved win, of course. So it's a win for number 151 John Stokes on the 480 Honda. It looks like Peter Maxwell is going to come through in a well deserved second placed position. And so that brings us quite nicely round to the final block of racing of the day, and this is the combined pre-1977s, over 50s and the over and under 40s and the pre-1989 125s, and this will be their last race of the day as they leave the line, and it's Mike McClarty once again who has got the whole shot into turn 1 as they make their way to the far side of the track. It looks like Andrew King in second position there has made a good start as well, but Lewis Bell on that CCM is making his way through the pack, but as they come towards us it's Mike McClarty from Andrew King, from Liston Bell and Lewis Bell, as the rest of the riders make their way up the Finavon Hill. And because this is a combination of different classes in this race, they will of course be scored separately as they cross the finish line. So we're looking at number 98 there. That's Liston Bell. Liston's already did quite well in some of the previous races here at Finavon, so there's a good scrap going on between these first 3 or 4 riders at the front, but it's still Mike McClarty from Andrew King on the Husqvarna HIS, but Lewis Bell is now moved up to second position on that CCM, so this will be quite a good race here between the very light and nimble CR125 Honda of Mike McClarty and that big 500 single 4-stroke CCM bike of Lewis Bell's. So it's still number 416 Mike McClarty, your race leader. Second, number 9 Lewis Bell on the 4-stroke CCM. Now thus far nobody's been able to beat Mike McClarty on that little 125, but Lewis is certainly going to give it a go in this race. He's certainly got the horsepower advantage over that little 2-stroke Honda, but Mike McClarty has been absolutely immense over the course of the day at this Finavon track, but Lewis Bell is certainly making moves on Mike's little 125 Honda. So it's Mike McClurty who makes his way up Finavon Hill, but as they come towards it, you can see that Lewis Bell is visibly closer now, so we could see a change of leader at the front in this race if Lewis can get past that very quick and nimble little 125 two-stroke. As you can see, when they get to the open parts of the track, Lewis can use the horsepower advantage of that big 4-stroke CCM. So this is the last lap, of course, of this race, so a good opportunity for Lewis to try and steal a win from Mike McClurty, but as I said, thus far nobody's been able to beat this little 125 Honda today here at Finavon Hill, but this could be a good race to the finish line between the 125 two-stroke of Mike McClurty's and that bigger 500 4-stroke British built bike of Lewis Bell. So as they come to the Finavon Hill, if Lewis can get the power down coming out of the hill, you'll be able to blast past Mike McClurty's 125, and he does exactly that. So it looks like Lewis Bell is going to cross the finish line for a win in this race, but Mike McClurty is going to go down the inside and try a move there, but he couldn't make it stick, so it's a win for number 9 Lewis Bell, and a good second place finish there for that very quick little 125 of Mike McClurty's. So we're going to move on now to the penultimate race of the day, and this of course is the pre-1977s over 60s and over 65s. So it looks like John Fleming has been left at the line in this race, but as the riders leave the line, and it looks like Derek McCauley has taken the whole shot on that 250 bull tackle machine. Derek's another one of the riders who's been absolutely superb here at Finavon, so it's Derek McCauley with the early lead on his Spanish-made 250 bull tackle Persang. It looks like Jim Allison, number 13, is in second position on the CCM. Kenny Harper is in third. Mike Bell is in fourth. Brian Hamilton is in fifth. But John Fleming looks like he's up and running once again, and he started to make his way through the pack. So as a race leader comes towards us, number 29, Derek McCauley. Derek has quite a good gap between himself and his second place rider, but Derek's been absolutely outstanding here at Finavon Hill on this little 250 bull tackle, so he certainly deserves the win in this race if he can hold on. Second place rider just making his way through there should be Jim Allison, and Kenny Harper is in third position with John Fleming there, number 10, in fourth. So John's got plenty time to make his way through the pack, but it's still Derek McCauley on the bull tackle who is your race leader as he buzzes his way up Finavon Hill once again. And Derek, of course, lives locally to this track, and I'm sure that Derek had a bit of a part to play in the actual construction and layout of this track, so thanks to Derek for his help building the track. And there's John Fleming. I think John Fleming's now up to second position, which is pretty good considering John was left at the start line, so John's still got a couple of laps to try and close in on that quick bike of Derek McCauley's. Now it looks like Mike Bell has taken a bit of a tumble there on his lovely BSA Gold Star, but it looks like Mike's okay. So here's the man of the match for this weekend, number 29, Derek McCauley, as he comes round to start his last and final lap. So hopefully Derek can hold on to that pole position because John Fleming is closing in. And there you can see there's not much to choose between the first and second place riders, but both these riders now on their final lap of this race. But I have to say it's been an excellent day's racing here at Finavon Hill Forfar as we take a look at our race leader heading towards the checkered flag. Number 29, Derek Macaulay from our growth, which is not too far from this Forfar racetrack. So as he comes towards the checkered flag, you can see that number 10, John Fleming, is very close, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to take the win as they head towards the checkered flag. But it's still Derek Macaulay with John Fleming really close behind now, so it could be a blast to the finish line. But as they head towards the line, it looks like Derek Macaulay has just taken that win. So that brings us to the final race of the day, the pre-1984 class, and I hope you've enjoyed all of the racing action from this Scottish Classic round 1 event here at Forfar. So we're just waiting on our official starter, Dougie Meek, in the centre of our picture there, the starter of all these races here at Finavon. Dougie's just waiting on the OK from the travelling marshal to say that the track is clear, and it looks like we're good to go. So as they leave the line, another good start there by John Stokes on the 480 Honda. Peter Maxwell is in second position. Andy Mallock is in third place on that 250 Montesa Capra. So another good ride here by the Burrelton man, Andy Mallock. Now these of course are the age-related races of the pre-1984 class, so each of these riders will be scored individually in their respective age groups. So as we look at our race leader coming towards us, number 151 John, oh dearie me, looks like John Stokes has locked that back brake just coming down the step there, and the bikes swapped ends and spat John off into the Finavon dirt, but it looks like he's still okay as we look at number 47, that's Steve Moore, who's chasing Kevin Smith on the Michael. But John looks perfectly okay, but looks like we've got some gear selection problems with that 480 Honda. Maybe damaged a gear lever or whatever, but I'm not exactly sure what happened. But as you can see in this slow-mo, John just came down the hill. It looks like the back end came round and spat John off, but thankfully John's okay. So that now makes this man here your brand new race leader, number 217, Peter Maxwell on the 490 Michael. And it will certainly be a major achievement if Peter can cross the line in first position, but it's still number 43 there, Andy Mallock on the 250 Montesa in second position. You very seldom see these Montesas racing in classic or twin choke meetings these days, but Andy absolutely loves this little two-stroke Spanish-made machine. So as we look to the far side of the track, it's still Peter Maxwell, your race leader. Andy Mallock is still in second position. But as I said, if you do fancy having a go at this Finavon racetrack in 2023, or even any of the other Scottish Classic race events, then just have a look on their website at classicscrambles.com to see all of their up-and-coming dates and any other information that you may require to take part. And of course, the plus side of racing with the Scottish Classic Club is that you can see yourself on TV shortly after the event and just check out how fast you were going on the day, courtesy of course of my Classic Dirt Bike TV channel. So as the riders cross the line to complete another racing lap, it's still this man here, number 217 Peter Maxwell on the 1981 490 Michael, who is your race leader as he heads up the hill once again. So this has been another good ride by Peter Maxwell. Of course, things could have been different had John Stokes not taken that tumble down the step, but still Andy Mallock, number 43, who is your second placed rider. So once again, Andy doing very well on that Montesa. Number 47 is Steve Moore, being followed by Kevin Smith there, number 334 on that black 440 Michael machine. But this has been another good ride here by Kevin as he follows his old mate Steve Moore, but there's no love lost between these two guys when they get on their bikes, so Kevin will be wanting to keep Steve Moore behind him at all costs. So it's the black 440 Michael versus the bigger 490. So we're looking at our race leader as he comes round to start his last and final lap of this race. It's number 217, Peter Maxwell. So hopefully Peter can keep a hold of that pole position over second place man Andy Mallock, who's just went through. Kevin Smith has now moved up into third position, number 334 there, and Steve Moore is in fourth. But Kevin will be well pleased with himself if he can get a podium spot finish in this last race of the day. So well done to Kevin, and this is going to be a major result for Kevin if he can keep Steve Moore there, number 47, behind him for this last lap of the race. So as our riders come towards us, it looks like it's going to be the first win of the day for number 217 Peter Maxwell. Andy Mallock is going to cross the line in second position on the 250 at Montesa. So Andy just going through to take the checkered flag, and I think it's going to be a third place finish for this man here, Kevin Smith. So well done to Kevin, a major result for this man, getting a third place finish in this final pre-1984 class race of the day. So Kevin comes round to take the checkered flag and does a fist bump as he crosses the line. But thanks again for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed all of the racing highlights from this round one event here at Finavon Hill in Forfar. And if this is the kind of stuff that you like to watch here on YouTube, then please consider subscribing to my channel. So I hope to see you all back here again very soon to talk about more vintage dirt bikes and racing, when we all retune to your number one and favourite channel, Classic Dirt Bike TV.